So this is RealmX. RealmX is a recently released mobile game. I'm not necessarily super into mobile gaming, but this game seemed kind of interesting because it has a built-in Bitcoin Cash wallet. So you've got your address there, you can click receive, see your QR code, you can look at your past transactions, sort them by sent and received. What you actually can't do with this wallet is send from this wallet to arbitrary addresses. So it's a very mobile gamey thing to do, isn't it? To make it so that you can send money to the wallet, but by default the only thing the wallet knows how to do is interact with the game. But it's kind of a weird halfway point because it's like kind of scammy in the mobile gamey, spend all your money here way, but it's still non-custodial. Like you still have the private keys to this wallet, and if you really needed to get access to the money that you had in this wallet, you could import the keys into a wallet that does have send functionality. So I both give them credit there and also kind of wonder what the heck is it really worth like not having a send option for like the people you're going to confuse and frustrate. I don't know. I guess we'll see if it pays off for them. So once you've got Bitcoin Cash in your wallet, there's actually only one thing you can do with it, and that's convert it into the in-game currency. So that might be kind of disappointing, but it's also kind of understandable. So like you might hope that they'd have like in-game economies and the entire thing would be built around sending Bitcoin Cash for things, which would be totally doable. The network could handle it. It would be great. At the same time, I understand sort of the design decision to want to have control over the in-game currency, or at least more control over it, to stabilize it, because there's also user experience concerns, with price swings and stuff like that. So that's what you do with the Bitcoin Cash. You use it to buy in-game currency. Now, it is kind of interesting. The only way to get in-game currency in this game is with Bitcoin Cash. So, like, if you want to have fun with the market stuff and do a couple things I'll describe later on, you need to get a hold of these diamonds, and to get those, you need Bitcoin Cash. So that's another thing that will be interesting to see whether it pays off. All right, so what else have they got going on in the game? Well, you've got like questing and adventures and stuff, which I'll get to in a second, but I think the second most exciting part of this game is the crafting / economy part of it. So if you go to Workshop, you can see that you've got a bunch of options on the left of stuff you can build, and then it lists the materials that you need. You get the materials from questing, but then you have two options when crafting it. You can craft it regularly or on-chain, and on-chain is what actually gives you the SLP token for the item and makes it permanent. So if you do regular, the item only lasts for one quest, and quests are actually really short, so I'm not sure how I feel about that as a decision. It makes it kind of too OP to just use it on chain using money, and then not have to craft some a bajillion clubs. You can go on a bajillion quests, but that's the way it currently works. So regular is just one use, and then on chain is permanent. And you'll notice on the left here, underneath each item is the name of the item, and in the lower right you'll see remaining. And it's my impression that these are all user-crafted items. So, when you buy this, some percentage of it is going to the user that created the item in the first place, and then some percentage of it is going to, the people who run RealmX. And I don't fully understand it, but at least that's my impression so far. So you've got plenty of equipment, kind of standard stuff for RPGs. You've got weapons. You've got top armor. The load's kind of slow. Bottom armor. Hat. Accessory. There's also a market where you can just outright buy these things without crafting them, but they're much more expensive over here. And I assume that in this case, it's also the case that you are either buying these from other players, or at least the players who invented the item are getting paid for having crafted it in the first place. I mean, it says owner here. So I assume it's a direct buy, but I don't know for sure. And so you've got your recipe table, and this is where the crafting happens. So you just need 3 materials, and they have to be of the same level, and I have no idea what that means. I don't know how to find a thing's level. I don't know if it has to do with the quests that you got them from or what, but some materials don't go together and others do. But when you find 3 that do go together, and you have a scroll, which you also get from questing, you can click create. And I've done this twice. but still don't really understand the process. So like it creates a thing, and I don't know if it's deterministic or random, like the stats of the thing, and it does seem to have something to do with the materials you put into it, but it also might be somewhat random. I don't know, but you get to name the item, and then you get to drag this slider that I didn't pay enough attention the first time I did it, but it looks like it determines like what percentage of profit you're going to be getting, like when people make it versus RealmX. So like you could pay a lot up front, like it costs money to do, which again is kind of weird, but I guess like if you're into the game and then you also have the chance to like overall make a profit, at least in game. I don't know if you can move the in-game currency around outside of the game, trade it for real money, end up with an exchange rate there, but at the very least, like it could like pay off in some way to pay a lot up front and then get 100% of the profit that is made when people like build or buy or however it works your item. There's another screen here, vote recipe, and this hasn't shown up for me except for once, but the space beneath the little banner here was, at least the one time it worked, filled up with a bunch of people's recipes, and like it was worded kind of phrasely. I think it was like support or something was the option, but it looks like the stuff that shows up in the workshop or maybe also the market is determined here. So like users vote, and I don't know if it's just account-based voting or if it's like money-based voting to keep people from trying to like, you know, screw the system. But either way, it's got this vote recipe page adjacent to the create recipe page, and I don't really know how it works. What I can tell you is that I created it was like a club, and I published it. And when I came back, I'm like 99% sure I had more money than when I left. Like I'm pretty sure I left with like 175 and ended up with where I'm at now, 861. So unless I like read it really badly, I made money off of having published an item, or in-game currency anyway. So it's kind of neat. Just the idea that they're trying to make it an economy between players that could potentially self-balance, which would be cool. It also might fail horribly, hard to say. So what do you actually do in the game? Well, you can do some kind of terrible idle farming, which I don't recommend. You just go over to your farm, and then you click, and then you confirm, and you click, and then you confirm, and then you click, and then you confirm. Not really my cup of tea. You've also got this like breeding farm animal area, and I don't really understand how that works either, because it's kind of annoying because you have to keep the animals fed. So you click feed, and then you can add like corn or potatoes you have to the just store of food here. And so I'm pretty sure I managed to kill like my first 2 bunnies or whatever. You get bunnies or whatever else you decide to put in your farm. Not sure what else can go in there. But you do that by going on quests. So we're finally in the meat of the game. You click on adventures over here, and you pick one of these 4 locations that all have a bunch of different stages. And so they do go like easiest to hardest, but like stage 10 Plain of Dawn is probably about as hard as like the first Mist Forest and so on. So it's not like you can't start going into later areas before you've completely beaten the first one. They just kind of get a little bit harder by default early on. So once you pick one of those, you're taken to this page where you can pick which stage, and the stages show up. You know, stage 5 isn't available until you beat 4, and so on and so forth. And it shows you what 3 things that you might encounter, although I feel like I've encountered some things that weren't on this list, so either it's a mistake. You can also see what materials you can get by beating this quest, and you'll notice that they're related to the things that are there. You can get rabbit fur or wood, and then you can also get, I think that's like an herb or something, and so that's not related to the cobblestone. But anyway, if you'll notice, I mean, okay, so you can like encounter these things, but what the heck does it mean to even encounter a shrub or cobblestone? Because like, okay, I'm out like leveling up, I'm a low-level character, let me go bash some rabbits on the head, right? And get some experience. Sure, fine, makes sense. At least, you know, as much as anything else makes sense in video games. But here, it's like, oh man, I came across a pot herb, and I swear that's what it was. I didn't misread it. I've like, every time I look at that, I'm like, that can't be right. But it's P-O-T-H-E-R-B, unless it's potherb, I'm pretty sure it's pot herb, which I don't know if it's supposed to be like short for like potato or something. But either way, you encounter it, and it's like a battle. But they only ever do 1 damage. Like plants and rocks, like they do attack, and you can see above their avatar thing there what they're about to do. So they even like just tell you by default whether the guy you're fighting is about to attack, defend, or do a special attack. But I guess sure, whatever. Let me bash some pot herbs. Because I guess I need to accumulate some materials that I get from bashing pot herbs. And it's weird. It's just like the stuff you'll fight. Like there's a ginseng. This is sustenance. Why am I bashing it? There it is on the right there. It looks like a creepy carrot. But the combat is actually kind of engaging. Like, the engaging part kind of comes from the weird design decisions that have been made. So, like, each quest is 4 encounters, and that's it. So at the top there, you see progress 1 out of 4. And so, okay, the first dude I came across was a ginseng, and I've got a couple options. I can attack, defend, escape, and then I have special moves above there. And then above that, I have, I assume it's supposed to be sweat. It could also be like hydration. Whatever it is it's basically your move limit. It's how many moves you have before you just forfeit, basically. So it kind of keeps you from relying on just a bunch of special moves. Or it forces you, if you want to use a lot of special moves, to get equipment that increases your sweat meter to where you can use them a lot. Not even sure how well this game is, balanced. But, okay, so those are my options. So, I can bash this ginseng. For whatever reason, I can zap it with lightning, because that makes complete sense in our tribal caveman setting. I can defend, which, like, in almost every other video game in the world is only useful in, like, super, super specific situations where, like, you're waiting for a special move to become available again or something. But okay, so like those are easy. Trees are always easy. They just like, oh, you gotta bash this tree and it'll fight back a little bit, but only 1 damage a turn. And oh yeah, trees will heal sometimes. Like, but I should say they'll heal all the time. If they're the type of tree that heals, they'll do it every turn. But you never know. So okay, so far I've gotten a ginseng and 2 trees. This is like no problem. This is easy peasy, lemon squapoozy, right? But, like, there's a chance that I could have just run into 4 bears and just gotten my ass totally handed to me. So it doesn't really make a lot of sense, but at the same time, it's kind of fun. But it can be weird like this. Like, you can just kind of farm on luck, which really is kind of all RPGs ever, so I don't really even hate it. Oh, snap. Okay, see what happened there? I didn't touch attack once there. But if you, like, spam the attack button, previous encounters, like progress dudes, like, you'll just keep attacking the next turn. Like, it carries those attacks over, which is frustrating. You can see he's going to do his regular attack, which, like, I need to zap him because he's crazy. He's going to do his regular attack, and he's going to take me down by a lot. And that's his special move. So I can't survive one of those. So I gotta heal. And I have to hit defense. And it'll cut down his attack a lot, but he's gonna hit me multiple times. And I'm not sure if he's gonna just, he's just gonna totally wreck me. So it's like, okay, like, just in case you forgot that it's not all ginseng and trees, here's a bear. But you can also go to Mist Forest. Oh wait, that's where I was at. You can also go to Plain of Dawn, where you'll find some crazy stuff like deer and trees. So yeah, the game is weird, it's quirky, and that's kind of the best part about it. Like, I'm like, why am I bashing apple trees? I don't understand, but I love it. Also, the music, I think, is exceptionally good. Like, so far, the music is easily the best part of the game. I don't know who they got to do it. It's like a weird mix between the Bastion soundtrack, which if you haven't heard, you should go listen to it, and if you haven't played Bastion, you should go play it, and like Pokemon Snap, like the playful, orchestral, but also kind of tribal homespunness that is this. It works really well. It'll be interesting to see like if there are like multiple realms, because like okay, the homepage, there's select world, and so there's future, there's Stone Age, so like, and we're in primitive. So there's going to be more worlds. I wonder if they're going to have different themes for each world. I really hope so, because one, this one's like very like tribal drums, and if they'd use that in the future, it wouldn't really make any sense. But also because that means like hopefully they'll get more music from the guy, whoever it is that did the music so far, and I really want to hear more of it, because this game probably would have gotten old much faster if I weren't just like it's very good. There's probably like a million things I missed because there's too much. So you can select your equipment here. Oh right. You can choose how much food to take with you on each adventure, and that affects your water, sweat thing, which I only recently learned. So it's very much so. I think it's supposed to be like stamina, but it's weird that to make it go up, you take food, but then when you're in battle, it's like shown as water droplet. I'm not exactly sure what the intent is, and I'm not sure how much intent is behind a lot of this game, besides just sort of, I don't know. They like slapped a bunch of mobile game mechanics together. They put their own blockchain spin on it, where the items are tokens on the chain, and where you can buy the in-game currency with Bitcoin Cash, and the in-game currency itself might be a token. I'm not sure. I didn't touch on the fact, I don't think, that there's this tasks thing on the left side here. It just says this function is opening soon, stay tuned, so that's something that's on its way. Oh yeah, and finally you can like level up your dudes. Like there is actually experience in this game, although it's like it's just mastery, and you can spend it to upgrade the damage you do versus different types of enemies. I have no idea what equity is. Well, it says item, proportion, income. So this seems to be referencing the thing where you publish the item, and then I mentioned there was a slider that let you choose, like, I think, like, what percentage of people buying the item you get. So I guess this is where this is listed, but there's nothing listed for me here yet, so not sure what's up with that. It could just be the same thing as that voting page, where just, like, for whatever reason, as a bug or something, it's just not showing up for me. Will be interesting to see. So yeah, that's RealmX, at least where it's at now, and my experience with it so far. I've enjoyed decking out my dude, because I never pay for things in games like this, but this one I was like, well, it's using the currency that I'm like a total geek about, so I'm gonna go ahead and buy some stuff. And also see if I can sort of help get the game off the ground by participating in its economy. And who knows, maybe it'll like pay off in the future. Maybe having created like one of the earlier items in the game will just produce me a constant stream of diamonds for the rest of my life. But also maybe not. That's not like really why I'm in it. It's just like one potential upside. And I don't really even understand the economy in the game enough to bank on that at all.